It's May 11th, and the strange side of history awaits. Today, we have a man left for dead on Everest, twins who became world famous for their unique connection, and a book that survived more than 1,000 years of history. Let's begin. On May 11, 1996, high on the frozen slopes of Mount Everest, a man opened his eyes after everyone around him believed he was already dead. The storm had swallowed the mountain overnight. Winds screamed across the summit forces as temperatures plunged below freezing. Climbers became shadows moving through the white darkness, unable to see more than a few feet ahead of them. Some simply sat down and never stood back up. American climber Beck had already been left behind once near the balcony more than 27,000 feet above sea level at Everest's infamous death zone, where the human body slowly begins to die. Rescuers believed there was no possible way he could survive the night. By morning, another team checked his frozen body, his face covered in ice, and he did not respond. And again, they assumed he was dead. But Beck was still alive. Somewhere inside the blizzard, after nearly 18 hours exposed on the mountain, he regained consciousness, alone, half frozen, stood up like something returning from the grave. Then, through whiteout conditions, climbers at Camp 4 saw a figure emerging from the darkness. Beck walked back from the dead. Even today, he remains one of the most unbelievable survival stories ever recorded from Mount Everest. On May 11, 1811, in a small floating village in modern-day Thailand, two brothers were born, connected by a band of flesh at the chest. At first, many villagers believed the twins were cursed. Others thought they were a warning. The boys, named Chang and Chang, against all expectations. As they grew older, people stared at them in shock. The brothers learned to run, swim, doing everything almost perfectly together, as though they shared a single body. The word of the strange twins eventually spread across the ocean. By their teen years, they were taken and displayed before crowds in Europe and America as living curiosities. Audience paid money just to watch them eat, walk, and speak. The strangest part then came later. Chang and Chang refused to remain slideshow attractions forever. They settled in North Carolina and became wealthy farmers, married 2 sisters, and fathered 21 children between them. For decades, they lived almost an ordinary life while permanently attached to one another. Then, in January 1874, Chang suddenly died after suffering a stroke. Hours later, Chang woke up beside his brother's body, terrified, grieving, and begging the doctors to save him. But before sunrise, Chang was dead too. 2 lives bound together from birth, only separated by death for a brief moment. On May 11th, in the year 868, somewhere in ancient China, workers carefully pressed ink onto carved wooden blocks and created a book that would survive more than 11 centuries. At the time, no one could have imagined it would outlive entire kingdoms. The scroll was called the Diamond Sūtra, a Buddhist text nearly 16 feet long, printed centuries before Europe's first printing press. Along the edges was a quiet message from a Wang Ji, who claimed he created it for free distribution, hoping to honor his parents and spread wisdom in the world. Then, somehow, it vanished. For nearly 1,000 years, it remained hidden behind a sealed wall inside the Mogao Caves, a labyrinth of sacred chambers carved into the desert cliffs known as the Cave of 1,000 Buddhas. Then, in the 1900s, a Taoist monk clearing sand away from the caves discovered its hidden doorway. Behind it were tens of thousands of ancient manuscripts stacked in the darkness, among them the Diamond Sūtra, the world's oldest printed book, waiting silently in the dark for over 1,000 years. It makes you wonder, what lost books or secrets do you think are still hidden in the world today, waiting to be discovered? Another day, another strange bite from history. Like, comment, and subscribe. Your next eerie dose is just a day away.